The Jamie Dyer Show.
People may be familiar with the Chantry Dance Company, Paul and Ray. Anyone who has followed the work of SouthWaves Audio in the past will know that I interviewed them a few months ago. And they are coming to the Horsham capital on the 13th of October to perform a new show based on Dracula. Now, a few months ago, when I spoke to Paul and Ray from the Chantry Dance Company, they had this to say about the production.
Dracula does, for dance companies, seem to be a very popular subject to tackle. We have obviously seen other dance companies produce versions of Dracula in the past, and it seems to attract choreographers like, I don't know, bees to honey or something like this. But it's a fascinating story. I think this is the reason why we've seen it done so often, is it's an absolutely fascinating story. Not only are we looking at a story where we see the supernatural colliding into, you know, the normal world, we're also looking at it's generally set in a time period as well where we have this idea of science being on the verge of sort of becoming a really important thing which people are making great developments in. And in this sort of scientific world that's just developing, we've suddenly got vampires appearing. So there's this really interesting balance point. On top of that, you've also got a featured female character in Mina who becomes kind of Dracula's obsession. And so you've got this interesting take on a woman's role within the society at that point as well. So there's a lot of scope within this story, especially for people who want to mess around with it and rewrite it, to really create something very, very interesting. So we have rewritten the story. It's very much inspired by the Bram Stoker novel, but we have rewritten the story and we've made a few little quirky twists to it. And so Dracula now, instead of being resident in a spooky old house in Transylvania, actually runs a cabaret club. It's not as crazy as it sounds. I would encourage people to come along and experience it, and hopefully they will enjoy this reimagining of Dracula that we've got coming up.
Ray from the Chantry Dance Company there, talking about their new production called Dracula. Welcome to D's. Now, one of the performers in the show, besides Paul and Ray, is Shannon Parker, a performer that you may have heard of. She, along with Peter Parker, appeared on the TV shows Got to Dance and Britain's Got Talent, doing rather well indeed in both shows. I recently had the opportunity to talk to Shannon about her role in the Chantry Dance Company's production of Dracula, but before all of that, I thought I'd ask her, in case people weren't familiar, about her background in dance.
I began dancing when I was 4, became a professional dancer with San Francisco Ballet, where I moved up through the ranks in the company and became principal at the age of 24. Then moved to, took a job in England, which brought me over to this country, Northern Ballet Theatre, and then after that finished my career with Ballet Duran in France.
Wow, so really prolific. Fast forwarding to now, you're currently in a production with Chantry Dance Company. Had you done anything with them previously before this production?
Ray and Paul approached myself after they saw me on Britain's Got Talent. Our paths had crossed at another school when I was teaching there once, and they came and observed the class. So after Britain's Got Talent, they approached me and they asked if I would be interested in teaching for their school. And I said, of course. We got on very well. I really liked their approach to their work and their teaching methods. So I started teaching there, and they also had their company. So when the opportunity came up to play the part of Lucy in their production, I basically jumped at the chance, and I asked them if I would be able to perform as a company.
Now, this is obviously a reimagining of the story Dracula. Was there anything that kind of drew you to the story in particular, or the way that they've adapted it? Because I have spoken to them previously, and it's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, I love the whole concept. First of all, the different genres of dance. You've got ballet, you've got contemporary, you've got modern ballet, neoclassical ballet, a fusion of all those different types of ballet dance in the ballet itself. I also like the fact that they work from a dramatic point of view, so there's a lot of acting involved. That excites me. Being a performer, I like to do a lot of acting as well as the dancing. And I had performed with Northern Ballet Theatre and created the role of Mina, so I thought it would be very exciting to be able to have that opportunity to perform and create the role of Lucy, because I hadn't done that before, so that interests me. Plus, I really like Lucy's character. Lucy's character is very different from Mina's. She's much more curious and inquisitive and bold and strong, and I like the difference between those two characters and being able to portray each one.
Obviously, with anything like this on this scale, it needs a great deal of rehearsal. And obviously, because it's a new show, that must be pretty tough.
The rehearsal period was tough because we're all juggling jobs as well as making those rehearsals work. We're doing full-time teaching. Most of the cast has another job. This is not our only job. So that was kind of tough, juggling that and motherhood, because I've got 2 children, and the commute, and going through the whole stage of your body. All dancers, when they're in shape on a regular basis, go through some sort of pain with a new piece because their body's going through different moves, and that was excruciating. It took me the first week. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I felt like I'd been hit by a tractor. But then everything starts to calm down, and your lactic acid subsides, and you get past that, and then it's all very exciting. And then once you get onto stage and you perform, as much as dances can be slightly masochistic, I think it all goes away when you're performing in front of an audience. So it's a challenge, and I'm 52 years old. My body doesn't do what it used to do as easily, so it's always going to be a challenge. But I like the challenge, and I like rising to it, and I like seeing how far I can push myself. And I think it depends. Everybody's got a different type of personality, but dance is so passionate for me. I feel so passionate about it that it fuels me as a person. So getting to achieve and do this at this stage in my life is very exciting. So it gives me a lot of energy just knowing that I'm still out there doing it.
Interesting. Certainly, as you say, with your age and everything, I mean, did they have to change anything in the production to make it slightly easier or anything?
Yeah, it was kind of a process where we would go into the studio and Paul or Ray would start choreographing on myself. There were times maybe I think I could have said, I need to change this because it's painful. They were very accommodating, but they come from a sort of a work ethic of, give it a little time. Let me keep working on it. Let me see if I can make this work. And so, as much as they were accommodating, and yes, they could choreograph things that they knew suited my physique and my personality, there were, in the beginning, moments where I was unsure. There's a pas de deux in the second act that I do with Vincent, who's my partner, and there were a few moments when that was being choreographed that I did sort of wonder if I was going to have to ask them to change anything. But the more we worked on it, with rehearsal, we were able to do everything that they asked for. So it was a process of a collaboration, of course, where in the studio, if I had said I can't do this, they would have changed it. But luckily, they didn't have to. So it was me pushing myself and them having the faith in me. And so it all came together.
So you're currently touring this production in the UK. How many have you got left to do?
So we've got 9 left. We're actually going to be in Manchester, and we go to Stamford. We go to Andover, Lincoln, Horsham, as you know, and London. So we've got 6 left to do. So it was 9 in total, and we've got 3 back-to-back. That'll be interesting because we've not had 3 back-to-back. In a way, people assume that that's really hard and taxing, but actually you get more comfortable the more you're on stage. So 3 shows back-to-back is going to be, I think, very exciting for the whole cast because we'll be able to really just completely process it, but also get completely comfortable with it. When you stop and start as a performer, that's not always easy, even though you need your body to have a rest. So there's pros and cons to both of those, but I think it's going to be very exciting to do 3 back-to-back because I think each one's going to we'll get more invested in our characters for sure and comfortable on stage.
I can understand kind of, how it would be good to do them back-to-back, but how do you keep kind of in shape with all that? Because that must be quite grueling on your body, surely.
It is. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's hard. It takes a certain mentality, you know, when you get to the second act, and Ray and I are dancing, and Paul, who is playing Dracula, and Ray, his wife, is playing Mina. You know, we're doing the majority of the dancing in the production. A hot bath is very good at the end of the day, with a glass of wine, or, I get a massage, and that helps my body to recover quite quickly. I think it can be underrated, sports massage sometimes, but it can actually make you continue. It helps you to dance, you know, just to get all the toxins and lactic acid out of your body, but also opening up the meridian so that you've got the blood flow going, which prevents injury. So that's how I kind of relax and unwind, which is very necessary at this stage of my life, you know, to keep consistently, you know, keeping my energy flows going.
Have you any plans for what you want to do afterwards, kind of after this run of shows?
You know, Ray and Paul are already working on another idea for another production, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be invited into that and continue, you know, with my performing journey. I'd retired at the age of 38 and came out of retirement to do Got to Dance and Britain's Got Talent. So this is really a gift, the fact that I am still getting to work with a company and do full-length ballet. It's not something I take for granted, and I really appreciate and love. So hoping that, you know, I'll be involved in their next production and just continue. There's something about when you teach and when you're performing, but, you know, and teaching at the same time, it gives you a better insight into your own teaching and technique. That's very precious to me, my teaching, being able to nurture the future and upcoming generations and teach them everything my teachers have taught me, and I still can apply while I'm on stage. At this point in my life, you know, I can concentrate on that and feel a little bit more in control of it than I did when I was younger. That's the other thing. You know, I've got a lot of teaching coming up, and I'll be traveling to Malta and doing, you know, I teach all over the country and in the United States as well. So, you know, fusing all those things together is what I'll be concentrating on.
What has the reaction been to your current production, Dracula, Welcome to D's? What's the reaction been from audience?
It's been phenomenal. The audiences have loved it. We've gotten a lot of great feedback. I've gotten personal messages from young people as well that have come to see the show. A 10-year-old actually wrote a message and said she loved it so much, and then she made her mother book tickets to see us again in Lincoln. You know, the audience, we always have a Q&A after we finish our performance, and we raise the curtain and we invite the audience to participate in asking us questions. And the feedback has been fantastic, you know, where people have just said, one lady just went, wow. That's all I can say is wow, wow, wow. It wasn't even a question. It was a statement. She was like, please keep doing what you guys are doing, because it's phenomenal. So it's been very positive, which is what you always want to hear. I mean, I'm not the choreographer of this production. I'm a dancer, you know, and I can imagine for Ray and Paul to hear that feedback is very, very special and important to them, because so much work goes into it. You know, people don't even realize to create a full-length ballet is, you know, it's a big part of your life. So to get that sort of feedback, I think, has been very encouraging and special to them.
Ballet dancer Shannon Parker there in an interview for us here at SouthWaves Theatre. She's appearing in Dracula, Welcome to D's from the Chantry Dance Company at Horsham Capital on the 13th of October. Be sure to catch that.
The Jamie Dyer Show.